Welcome to the NFL Big Match Preview, brought to you by NFL Insight. I'm Andy Richmond, and the game that we are putting under the microscope this week is the New England Patriots' visit to the Miami Dolphins in a game that sees both teams still looking to seal their place in the postseason. Well, we're going to be covering some of the betting markets here, reflect on previous games between the two teams and how their season's gone so far, and probably most importantly, we'll take a look at some of the very important tactical facets within the game before we round out our preview with a small sample of our live match trading statistics, which form the basis of a lot of our trading decisions and strategies that we've put in place on the NFL on Sunday night when we trade this and several other games live in their trading room. Now we'll take a look first at how the match odds compare with our master tissue. What we do with these, all these prices that you see here are available via our trading sheets, so you can compare a real price based on hundreds of similar games with what you're being offered in the marketplace. In fact, you've got your own tissue in your own hands, and they could prove incredibly useful if you are betting or trading on the game. So the first thing we can take a look at is how their prices and how we think the market matches up against what is on offer in the marketplace. Well, it's pretty close. The Dolphins price around 2.09 is an offer. We think it should be around 2.08, and possibly the handicap should make this nearer a pick'em game as well, with the Dolphins getting a couple of points on the handicap. That might make them slight value as well. You can also see there that we've got prices or percentages worked out, which you convert into odds, of course, for how we think the odds for the first touchdown and the first field goal, how they will be scored, and you convert those back into prices. The Dolphins, if you think the Dolphins are going to make the first score and the first points will come from a touchdown, so there's a 31% chance of that happening. That makes that around a 2-to-1 chance, and that's the price you should be looking for in the marketplace. Now let's take a look at how things shape up pre-game on Matchbook, which we use for a lot of our pre-match trading. And here you can see again what we were saying earlier, it's a real pick'em game this. 1.96 the Patriots against 203 the Dolphins, just shading favouritism the Patriots, but we'd probably put it almost very, very close. Again, on the handicap, it's just that nominal point that tilts the direction back in the favour of the Dolphins there, and it really is a very, very tight game this. I think there are a little bit bigger handicaps out there, but the way things are going at the moment, those Dolphins with that start, that could be quite useful. Points in the game, that's always one of the markets. Under over 40.5, that looks a little on the low side to me. I think this will be quite an attacking game. Both offences could well be on top. Defences, well, as I'll come on to point out, have had their problems in the past, and 40.5 looks a little bit low. I'd be inclined to go over the points there at 40.5. Let's take a look now how things have gone throughout the season, reflect on a few of the past meetings between them. Well, these two are long-standing divisional rivals. The Dolphins hold the series advantage overall, but of late it's the Patriots who've held sway. They've won the last 7 contests, and pretty convincingly they've won them too. This season, New England, well, they're 10-3. They're not in the playoffs yet. They look like winning the AFC East yet again, but since losing to the Panthers, they've won 3 straight games, but they've come back from deficits, and this is something I'll touch on later. 24, 10 and 12 points of deficits they've come back from. Can they keep on doing that? Miami, well, they're 7-6. They're hanging in there. They'll be looking for one of those wild card spots. They started 3-0, came out the blocks really well, but 6 defeats in 8 games, that set them back. They've won their last 2. They seem to be on the way back, but that is a tough call against New England here. This is a real game that they must win to keep in those playoff standings. Well, we'll look at now and move on. Look at 5 facets of the game for each team that could well be vital in deciding how this plays out. Let's take a look at the Patriots first. The Patriots, well, they've split their 6 road games so far, 3-3. But the 3 wins have all come against teams with a losing record, and in fact their combined record, those 3 losing teams, reads 9-30 at the moment, whereas the sides that have beaten them away from Foxborough have a combined 24-15 record. So they've beaten up the lesser sides and come unstuck against the better sides away from home. I'd probably put Miami somewhere in between the two at the moment. Let's move on to these 5 facets of the game that I've picked out that are important for each side. Both the opposing quarterbacks in this game, Tom Brady and Ryan Tannehill, have had their problems with pass protection this year. Tannehill is in fact the most sacked quarterback in the NFL, but Brady has been under pressure on plenty of occasions as well. He suffered 36 sacks of his own this year, and the Patriots have an offensive line that has been beset with injuries this year. And it's also noticeable that Brady's passing numbers are well down when he was put under pressure. That was last week. And the Dolphins did hold him to 116 yards on 22 throws back in week 8. When they came back, this was the Patriots, again another comeback. They came back from a 17-3 deficit to win 27-17. I think they were behind 14 points on 2 occasions in that game. Now, if Brady can't pass effectively, then the Patriots have developed and got a decent ground game via Stephen Ridley, LeGarrette Blount and Shane Vereen. Although I expect Vereen to be used in the passing game also, especially on screens. All three should be able to mount an effective attack that will keep the Miami rushers at bay and the Patriots offense in balance and create the time and space for Brady to use the play-action passing game, something that he has done on nearly 25% of his dropbacks this season. That's certainly put him in the top third of quarterbacks who use play-action. Now, I've been banging on about this, but slow starts have plagued the Patriots this season. In the last 3 weeks alone, they've come back, as I've said before, 24, 10 and 12 point deficits they've had to come back for, and indeed they were 14 points down on 2 occasions against the Dolphins in their first meeting this season. It begs the question as to whether this trait will eventually come back to bite them, or can they keep pulling out those comebacks week after week? Is it a mark of a poor side, or is it a mark of a good side? It's something to remember if the Patriots trail and you are trading the game, that they are capable of comebacks. So possibly it might not be a good idea to go looking for what I'll call easy money at a short price on the Dolphins. Of course, one of the major challenges for this game will be how do the Patriots compete without their one of their major players, tight end Rob Gronkowski, who fought his way back from injury earlier in the season and is now out and again finished for the season after a ligament injury to his knee sustained last Sunday. Without Gronkowski, the Patriots do lose, well, what I call a match-up player, especially inside of the 20-yard line in that red zone. So how do they adjust to the tight end's injury? Well, I believe the Patriots will run the same concepts with mixed personnel groupings that they've had all season. So in some cases 3 wide receivers, 1 tight end and a running back. Others it will be 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end and 2 running backs. They can still run what I would call the seam concepts and run inside those seams with those various concepts. And you should also look out for running back Shane Vereen to run routes, combination routes, to give Tom Brady an underneath target both versus zone and man-to-man looks as well. New England have always used multiple personnel groupings within its game plan, and that won't change because of this injury. New England will never be the same offense without Gronkowski. The defensive openings he creates will no longer be there, and neither are the what I always call in-traffic receptions that he can make. The Patriots will have to figure out a way to win with the formula and players in place and without Gronkowski. One element of the game that the Patriots will need to accelerate is their pass rush. It was woeful against the Browns, and they must mount far more pressure on the Dolphins quarterback Ryan Tannehill. The Patriots also failed to contain the Cleveland Browns' 2 best receivers, Jordan Cameron and Josh Gordon, in their narrow 27-26 victory on Sunday. That marked perhaps the first time this year that the Patriots defence was not able to force the opposition to do something out of their comfort zone, and they must do that again. One player that the Patriots defence and head coach Bill Belichick will need to be cognizant of on Sunday is tight end Charles Clay. In the last 2 weeks, Clay has totaled 14 catches for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the mention of Clay leads me on nicely into the Dolphins section of the show. Clay has been putting up some big numbers in the past few weeks for the Dolphins and looks more and more like an integral part of the Miami offense. Now he finished Sunday's game against the Steelers with 7 catches and 8 targets for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns, giving Ryan Tannehill a near perfect 156.8 quarterback rating on those throws alone. Putting his versatility on display, Clay impressively did much of his work against the Steelers' corners. So look for him not to line up where you would expect a tight end to line up. He can line up wide out. In fact, he spent just 26 of his 53 snaps lined up on the line. with 4 of his 8 targets occurring against cornerbacks in primary coverage. So the Dolphins do like to move him around and use him all over the place. He's also a very, very good pass blocker as well. So look to use him there, and he's already been identified this week by Bill Belichick as a real threat by the Patriots. The one thing that was horrible against the Steelers, though, was the Dolphins' pass defence. The Steelers didn't really connect on any big plays against Miami. Rather, they connected on small plays, which turned into big plays. That was tackling. They just didn't tackle, especially the linebacking group. Those weren't deep throws, but intermediate throws. Bad play by the linebackers and safeties allowed them to happen. And Brady and the Patriots will thrive on those if the Dolphins make the same mistakes again. Now, it's true that Ryan Tannehill threw a horrendous pick on Sunday, but you had to like the way he came back from that mistake. As after the pick 6, he went 8 for 12 for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns with no interceptions and a passer rating of 121.5. He's still developing, but it was good to see him come back after that mistake and show that he has a lot of heart and desire and can lead this team successfully. This aspect of the game. There is another aspect of the game that the Dolphins need to fix, and probably need to fix quite fast as well. And it's probably surprising that they actually need to fix this, because one of the easiest predictions that was made about the Miami Dolphins in the off season was that they would be tough to run the ball against. Well, out of 13 games this season, in 8 of them, the Dolphins have allowed teams to run for over 100 yards, with 3 of those teams running for over 150 yards in the game. This is a crisis on the defensive side of the ball, one that's only magnified by the fact that in 2012 they were ranked 13th against the run, while in 2011 they were ranked 3rd. Now they're down to 23rd, and the Patriots have a 3-headed running attack, and the Dolphins will need to stem the rushing flow. Destiny. This is something that the Dolphins have in their own control, and they will want to make for the postseason. They're 7-6. They're tied with the Baltimore Ravens for the final AFC playoff spot, with 2 games left at home and 3 left against division opponents. Win and they're in seems to be the case when you compare Miami's schedule with that of the Ravens, who currently hold the tiebreaker over the Dolphins. It remains to be seen if they can win games of this magnitude, but if they can, a wild card berth is surely theirs. The destiny is in their control. It's just if they can handle the pressure. Now, I mentioned right at the top of the show about our exclusive trading statistics sheets. And these have lots of information about how sides have responded in certain situations before and how often they go on to win the game from certain situations. These are incredibly useful when you're trading the game, giving you an idea of what can happen in certain situations and where prices will go. Here you can take a look at just a small situation of what we think if teams are leading, if either of the teams are leading by 7 points at half time, 3 points at half time, or if the games is tied at half time. And you can turn those percentages into prices, and you can compare those with what is on offer in the marketplace at the time. In our live trading room on Sunday, we have the ability to predict a live tissue price at any point in the game and how likely statistically certain outcomes are to happen. And as I said to you here, so you can see the certain percentage chances that each side would hold winning the margin in this game, and we can predict those at any point in the game. We can also predict other statistics like the chance of a side dashing out into a 10-0 lead. Could be particularly useful with a side like New England, who are very, very good at coming back. So what is their true price then? And here you can see with the chances of the side taking a 10-0 lead within the game. But we can predict that for any particular point in time or any particular point in the game as well. All of this data gives us what I would call a really good idea of the ebbs and flows within a market and how it should be priced at any moment and situation within the game. In effect, we're giving you what the bookmakers have probably got at their end, and they're pricing the game up so you can see where the value lies in the market. Now, those statistics that I've shown you here are just a small taster of the cornucopia of data that we have available, not only in those sheets but in other statistics that we can supply during the game as well. They're exclusive to NFL Insight, and via the live updates that are available in our trading room, they make us able to assess match situation and the odds available at an instant and apply our trading strategies to those which have proved very successful this year. Now, I hope you've enjoyed this match preview, and they're just a small part of what we do at NFL Insight. And if you've liked them, well, then make sure you subscribe to the NFL Insight TV channel on YouTube, where you'll get all our latest previews. And I'll be back soon with further match previews and all the big games in the NFL. You can also make sure you check out our betting focus previews via our website, which is www.betting-insight.com, where we take we'll look at all the best betting opportunities on the game once we have taken into account all the tactical factors available in this preview, and some more I should be adding in before I write that preview. Come and get involved with us at NFL Insight for all your NFL previews, statistics, trading views and betting advice. We truly believe that NFL Insight is a new way of looking at and combining not only the trading statistics and tactical acumen that is available to us in the NFL, but combining those two. I hope you've enjoyed this preview. Come back and visit us soon and enjoy the game on Sunday as the Patriots take on the Dolphins.